Mr Chair, I put it to you that that is not an adequate solution. Thank you.
Mr Chair.
Todd McLean.
Mr Chair, thank you. I've just said to my colleague beside me, the Chief Whip, Michael Woodhouse, to wake up. You're not allowed to sleep in this House. He said it wasn't his fault. He'd listened to the beginning, the middle and the end of the speech from the last member. How is it that two MPs from Dunedin, one from Dunedin North, another MP representing Dunedin South, can be so different, have such a different grasp of reality when it comes to issues as important as this and as to New Zealanders? One is grounded in reality, the one in the area of fanciful land, and of course it's Mr Woodhouse who has his feet firmly on the ground. What we heard from the last speaker in this debate was wishful thinking. And the one point, Mr Chairman, that I take from what Mr Clark said was impose more tax. That's right. He said impose more tax. He said David Shearer is right, impose more tax. Well, he's actually not right, he's left. And he's so much further left than what people in this country want at this time that it concerns me greatly for members opposite who believe that their leader is right. Impose more tax on New Zealanders. We heard about a capital gains tax. Capital gains tax. We've heard about it again. Recycled from the last election, Mr Chairman. A capital gains tax on all businesses and farms, on all houses, on beach houses, on everything that New Zealanders own. Now, they'll stand up in this House and say, no, that wasn't what we meant before the last election. Indeed, we had a good plan before the last election, and New Zealanders just didn't understand it. And we hear that from the Labour opposition all of the time. Well, Mr Chairman, I would say to you, not only did New Zealanders understand it, they rejected impose more tax, they rejected an unfair capital gains tax, and they elected the policy that is before us, delivered by the Honourable Minister in the chair. Mr Chairman, the committee had an opportunity to hear from all New Zealanders on this piece of legislation. In Part 1, we took extra time, as we often do in the Finance and Expenditure Committee, took extra time to listen to those submitters on their views. And whilst there were a range of views, I believe the bill that's been brought back to this House clearly does follow the views of those that we heard from all around New Zealand. And those views were simple. They were that David Shearer is wrong. Don't impose more unnecessary tax. We don't want a capital gains tax that will penalise us. We want a tax system that will benefit New Zealanders, give them an opportunity to invest in themselves and go forward. And I commend this wonderful piece of legislation the Minister's brought to the House.
Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Chairman, it's a pleasure to take a call on this taxation annual rates, returns, filing, remedial matters bill. They always have such exciting titles. And it is, of course, instructive to listen to the